Here I have the ASUS Zenbook A16, powered by Snapdragon. Full disclosure, Snapdragon sent me this laptop through their Snapdragon Insider Access Program. However, they haven't reviewed or approved this video, and they aren't providing any feedback. So all of these thoughts and opinions are entirely my own. Spec-wise, the A16 ARM-based laptop has 48GB of RAM, a 1TB SSD, all powered by the Snapdragon X2 Elite Extreme chip with a massive 18 cores and the Hexagon NPU that pushes a massive 80 TOPS for local AI workloads. Let's first dive into the unboxing. Chapters are below if you want to skip ahead. Inside, you get a power cable and a 130 watt USB-C adapter. It's surprisingly compact for that much wattage, which I really appreciate. I'll set aside the Zenbook for a second. Underneath, you're greeted by a nicely designed postcard. We'll check out more here in a second. Inside the envelope, you'll find your standard documentation and warranty information, and then we have that postcard, which on the back is blank to use to your discretion. Now to unwrap the ASUS Zenbook A16, removing the plastic, the first thing I notice is just how incredibly thin and light this laptop really is, just 2.65 pounds. For context, the 15-inch M5 MacBook Air is heavier at 3.3 pounds. Also, the texture is apparent right away. It's a slightly matte stone-like texture. It feels unlike any laptop I've ever used and should help repel fingerprints too. This laptop is just incredibly thin at about 0.5 inches, approximately 12 to 13 millimeters. Even though the A16 is an ultra-portable thin and light laptop, port selections fantastic, offering two USB Type-C ports, a full-size USB-A port, and an HDMI 2.1. Creators will also appreciate the dedicated headphone jack and a full-sized SD 4.0 card reader. Not requiring any added dongles for most is always a win. Right out of the box for a 16-inch laptop packed with this much power, I'm very impressed with the presentation. ASUS, this is one sleek-looking laptop. Lifting the lid, my eyes quickly gravitated towards the cool ASUS logo here, but also the Snapdragon X2 Elite sticker, as well as the other stickers here. You probably quickly noticed the massive glass trackpad that takes up the majority of the vertical space below the keyboard though, which supports multi-touch gestures, so the added space is great. The keyboard provides a 1.4mm key travel for tactile typing with a dedicated Copilot key. Alright, anyways, with the unboxing out of the way though, I'm going to get logged into my Microsoft account and get the Zenbook A16 all set up so we can dive right into the full review. Once initially set up, I first want to personalize the setup with my go-to wallpapers. If you watch my other videos, I get those from My Linux for Work, link in the description for the wallpapers. Using a quick command here in Terminal, I can install Git and then retrieve all of the wallpapers. As you can see, there are many wallpapers in the My Linux for Work collection. I mention this part of the setup only because I often get many comments asking about which wallpapers I'm using, as well as throughout this video you may see many different wallpapers. Again, if you're curious, the links are in the description, a collection I highly recommend. Scrolling around the wallpaper collection, I'll select a wallpaper that I personally feel best matches this laptop's earthy aesthetic. Once I've personalized the setup, I'll immediately start running benchmarks for those curious about the benchmark numbers. I first ran Geekbench. The Geekbench scores reflect absolute top-tier performance, with over 3,000 in single-core and over 21,000 in multi-core, though the GPU score of 44,000 keeps it firmly in the premium integrated tier. I also ran Cinebench. The multi-threaded Cinebench score lands at a massive 5,202 points, sitting right in the mix with the heavyweight desktop and pro-grade silicon. The ASUS Zenbook A16 comfortably defeats the fanless M5 MacBook Air in multi-core workloads thanks to its 18-core design. However, once you step up to the M5 Pro and M5 Max MacBook Pros, Apple's architecture pulls ahead in pure multi-threaded overall scores. Apple also continues to heavily dominate when it comes to raw graphics performance. Under maximum loads, nothing slows the Zenbook A16 down thanks to the Snapdragon X2 Elite Extreme packed inside. To really push performance, I used WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux, and ran a Linux CPU stress test with H-top monitoring the cores, but I also recorded the fans so you could hear just how the fans sound under that stress. Take a listen now. Benchmark scores and stress tests are one thing, but what about gaming performance? Well, that's kind of a mixed bag here, honestly, on the A16. Optimized titles and lighter esports games run great, especially with the gorgeous 120Hz OLED touch display. Of course, cloud gaming with Xbox is smooth provided you have a great Wi-Fi connection. I only note cloud gaming to say that battery during cloud gaming is excellent. I'll talk about battery more later. However, unoptimized x86 games can still suffer from stutter. While the GPU handles casual gaming with ease, this ARM ARM-based machine is built for premium efficiency, more like a workstation powerhouse rather than a dedicated AAA gaming setup. Steam still isn't truly optimized for ARM. If you download Steam and dive right into a game like Cyberpunk, even with performance mode enabled with the laptop connected to the power brick, it's not the best or smoothest experience, as you can probably see from the frame rates. Games like Red Dead Redemption 2, one of my favorite games as well as my wife's. Side note, she's actually beat story mode to full completion, 100% completion several times. Anyways, it's completely unplayable on the A16. It takes quite some time to load, and once it does and you begin to move around, things quickly start to fall apart pretty rapidly. As you can see from this clip, for example, it started out promising, and then you'll quickly notice all the frame rates start to crash. As soon as a dog runs pretty close to Arthur here, everything started to slow down, and it ended up slowing down to the extent that I could no longer play the game. As you can see, it's very choppy, and eventually it ended up just crashing altogether. There is a bit of hope though, thanks to Snapdragon and the Snapdragon control panel. It automatically scans your Steam library and lets you build custom per game graphics profiles to help smooth performance. You can easily toggle features like Snapdragon Game Super Resolution for instant frame rate boosts, tweak texture filtering, or lock in a frame rate cap to drastically eliminate translation stutter. Then, coupled with the performance mode enabled, I found Steam games to be a bit more enjoyable. However, if you are looking for a laptop and gaming is your top priority, especially AAA titles, then this isn't the laptop for you. For casual gamers who want to game on occasion or play lighter titles, then this will absolutely run great for that. For me personally, I'm a very casual gamer. Everything I played on here worked great, and after a few adjustments in the Snapdragon control panel, I could happily dive back into games like Cyberpunk. With a dedicated Qualcomm Hexagon NPU pushing 80 TOPS compute, the Zenbook A16 absolutely crushes dense local interference pipelines. I've been stress testing this for days, orchestrating a massive local agentic architecture across containerized environments, running multimodal LLMs entirely on device by the way, and deploying everything from local code gen scripts to PewDiePie's open source Odysseus self-hosted AI workspace. However, to demonstrate real-world AI on the A16, I used Anything LLM, which is optimized for Qualcomm's NPU. You can see the NPU task manager spike while executing local queries to show that the NPU is actively handling the workload with ease, keeping the CPU and GPU entirely free. This Zenbook's architecture gives you super fast power efficient AI processing, making it the ultimate future-proof setup for developers. But beyond all of that, the Zenbook A16 offers even more, I have to note, like with Windows, how you can easily pair your Android device to this laptop like my Oppo Find X9 Ultra. There's also a decent webcam I've used for a handful of meetings. I also edited this entire 4K video you're watching now entirely on the Zenbook with Kdenlive with very fast rendering. And as a fan of Linux, I of course had to continue exploring WSL to the fullest, setting up a local cloud hosting server, for example. Anything I could think of throwing at this Zenbook, I did. The typing experience has been good, not MacBook or Dell level for me, but I love the tactile feel and the bright backlit keys. The OLED display is beautiful, bright, and I've consumed a lot of media on this. The speakers are great too, but just to note, they are bottom firing, so if you set this on your lap, you do lose some of the sound quality. All of that to say, battery has been easily 11 hours a day. And the port selection on here has saved me many times from hunting for a dongle. As you can see pinned here are all of the apps and software I use daily, all of which worked great without any hiccups or issues. Compatibility with ARM has vastly improved since I had my first gen Snapdragon X Elite laptop, and Qualcomm continues to innovate here, pushing the boundaries and offering an ARM-based option that truly outperforms many competitors without breaking the bank. I mean, come on, 48 gigabytes of RAM for less than a 32 gigabyte Dell XPS in comparison in this AI-driven economy, it's incredible. Overall, especially as a Linux user, this is the best Windows laptop I've used in years. ASUS and Snapdragon absolutely delivered here. Between the stone-textured, ultra-thin design, elite performance, and that gorgeous OLED, I just can't stop reaching for it. It's an easy recommendation. A huge thanks again to Snapdragon, and if you have any questions, let's discuss in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, take care, and stay safe.